When the games return, nothing will be the same. The screen flashes red. A giant number 4 bleeds onto the black screen, followed by the sound of hundreds of footsteps stomping in rhythm. Darkness covers the screen. A single breath is heard, shaky, uneven, as if someone is hiding. The sound of gravel crunches under heavy boots echoes from the distance. A spotlight flickers, but nothing is seen yet. The heartbeat sound grows stronger, syncing with the viewer's own pulse, pulling them deeper into the moment. A voice whispers in the shadows, "The game is not over." Suddenly, a sharp clap, like hands slamming together. The screen explodes with flashes of red. Quick cuts appear, a faceless guard holding a gun. The sound of a metal gate slamming shut, a player's trembling hand reaching upward. The images vanish as quickly as they appear, leaving only echoes of screams in the background. The camera reveals a long hallway. Its walls are painted in black and crimson, stretching endlessly. Rows of masked guards march in silence, their boots pounding in unison. Their masks glisten under dim red lights. Each step feels heavier, as if the weight of death itself follows them. From the darkness at the end of the hallway, a huge symbol appears, the familiar circle, triangle, and square. But this time, the shapes twist unnaturally, bending into something new, something darker. The circle drips like blood, the triangle fractures like broken glass, and the square burns with fire around its edges. The sound of a child's laugh cuts through the tension. It echoes endlessly, bouncing around the hallway until it feels too close, too real. The laugh suddenly distorts into static. As if swallowed by a broken speaker, narrator's voice returns, low and haunting. Every choice, every step, will lead you deeper into the game. A shadow flickers across the screen, faceless players lined up in a massive room. They wear the same green tracksuits, but the numbers on their chests glow faintly in the dark, pulsing like beacons. Their faces are blurred, showing only expressions of fear and doubt. Behind them, a massive digital scoreboard flickers with the number 456, then glitches into static. The camera zooms closer into one player's hand. The hand trembles, clenched tight, holding a single marble. The marble glows faintly red, as if alive. Suddenly, the sound of glass breaking shatters the silence. Cut to black. The narrator whispers again, "When the games return, nothing will be the same." The words Season 4 slam onto the screen in bold red letters. The heartbeat sound stops. Silence fills the void. Then, one final sound. The crack of a gunshot. Fade out. Asterisk. The screen flickers with static, like an old television fighting to find a signal. Slowly, the static fades into an aerial shot, but it's not the familiar pink staircases or closed rooms anymore. Instead, we see a vast empty field under a stormy sky. Lightning cracks, illuminating hundreds of faceless players standing in rows, their green uniforms glowing faintly in the darkness. A voice, calm but chilling, cuts through the storm. The arena is no longer confined. The camera drifts over the players, their faces blurred, their numbers glowing red instead of white. The lens pulls upward, revealing that the field stretches endlessly, bordered not by walls but by black towers rising into the clouds. Each tower blinks with neon symbols, circles, triangles, and squares, flashing like warnings in the distance. Quick cuts reveal fragments of the new world. A giant rotating platform suspended above water, players clinging to it as it spins faster. An underground tunnel system glowing with red emergency lights, faceless figures crawling through it in fear. A vast digital screen in the sky displaying players' numbers, then glitching violently as numbers vanish one by one. The narrator's voice deepens. The game spreads beyond the walls, into places no one thought possible. We cut to a futuristic cityscape at night. Streets are empty, lit only by glowing lanterns shaped like the familiar game symbols. Shadows move between alleys. A player runs desperately, only to find himself trapped at a dead end as a spotlight slams down on him. The sound of guards' boots draws closer. Another flash, a new game. Dozens of players stand on what looks like a children's playground, but the swings are made of chains, and the slides twist into endless black tunnels. Laughter echoes, but it's not playful, it's mechanical, broken. As though the playground itself is alive. Then, silence. The screen fades to a dimly lit room. Inside, faceless players sit at long metal tables, eating silently. The camera moves across their hands, showing bowls filled with plain rice and water. One hand trembles, spilling food onto the floor. A loud buzzer sounds. Guards march in, drag the player away, and the camera cuts before we see what happens. The voice returns, lower, sharper. New rules. New betrayals. New fears. A montage begins, two players gripping each other's hands in a pact, only for one to let go during a deadly game. A massive mechanical doll, but this time with 3 eyes, turning its head in jerks as it scans the arena. A faceless figure in a red guard uniform, hesitating for a moment as if questioning their orders. A single mask, the mask of the front man, placed on a table, cracked down the center. The screen glitches again. This time we see numbers on a digital counter, 001 to 99. The counter races forward, skipping numbers as if lives are disappearing faster than ever before. It finally stops at 000. A long, sharp beep fills the silence. The narrator's final words for this section ring like a warning. The game has grown. And no one is safe anymore. The camera pans up, revealing the sky again. Only now, it isn't clouds above. It's a dome of screens, each one showing a different group of players trapped in different arenas. Some are forests. Some are cities. Some are twisted versions of playgrounds. Every screen flickers with fear, betrayal, and blood. The sound of a child humming the red light, green light tune begins softly, almost sweetly. But the melody distorts, glitching like a corrupted recording. The screen cuts to black. Text fades in. Glowing in red. Season 4, the world is the arena. The screen bursts to life with the deafening sound of a siren. Red lights flash across a massive arena, revealing hundreds of players scrambling in confusion. Their green uniforms glow under the lights, numbers pulsing like warning signals. A mechanical voice booms from above. Prepare for elimination. The ground beneath the players suddenly shifts, giant tiles sliding apart to reveal a chasm of darkness below. Screams echo as a few unlucky players lose their balance and vanish into the abyss. The tiles lock into a deadly new pattern, forming a puzzle too large to understand in one glance. A drumbeat begins, slow at first, then faster like war drums announcing doom. The narrator's voice cuts in. This time, survival comes at a greater cost. Quick flashes show the new conflicts. 2 players pulling at the same rope on a hanging bridge. One whispers, "Trust me," before cutting the rope and sending the other plunging into the void. A game played in total darkness. The screen almost pitch black, only the faint glow of terrified eyes darting back and forth. A scream pierces the silence, then a gunshot, then nothing. A giant spinning wheel in the center of a room, players strapped to it like puppets. Forced to endure as knives swing past them with every rotation. The camera cuts to close-ups of faces, not clear, but blurred, showing only raw emotions, panic, rage, betrayal. A trembling hand holds a blood-stained marble. Another clutches a shard of broken glass like a weapon. A distorted voiceover whispers, "Alliances are fragile. Trust is poison." We see 2 players forming a pact, shaking hands in desperation. Seconds later, one of them shoves the other into the path of a charging guard. Blood sprays across the camera lens before the screen cuts to black. The next shot reveals the guards themselves. But they are no longer just silent enforcers. One guard hesitates, lowering his gun, trembling as if fighting his own orders. Another rips his mask off in a hidden corner, but his face is blurred, leaving only a shadow of humanity. The narrator deepens. The rules are broken. And the players are not the only ones trapped. We cut to a massive new game. A stadium filled with players facing a towering mechanical doll. Unlike before, this doll has 3 eyes glowing red, and its head jerks in unnatural angles. Its voice echoes like thunder, red light. The players freeze. The doll pauses, scanning. Its third eye beams a red laser across the field, slicing through a row of players in an instant. Blood stains the ground. Green light. The survivors run, sobbing, their footsteps pounding against the soil. The montage intensifies. A river of black water where players must cross on floating platforms that sink one by one. A clock counting down from 60 seconds, each tick louder than the last, as players scramble to complete an impossible puzzle. A masked figure in the control room slamming a fist against the table. As screens flicker with static and chaos, the camera cuts back to the players. Their numbers flash violently on their chests, some turning from red to black, the signal of elimination. The screams grow louder, overlapping with the sound of the drums. Finally, silence. A single image fills the screen, a lone survivor standing in the middle of an empty arena. Their face is hidden, their chest number flickering between digits as if the system cannot decide who they are. The voiceover whispers, "To live, you must destroy more than the game." A final flash. The front man's mask shatters, falling into pieces on the ground. Behind the fragments, only darkness remains. The screen cuts to black. Text fades in slowly, glowing like fire. Text fades in slowly, glowing like fire. Season 4 trust dies here. The sound of a gun cocks. Then silence. Asterisk, a faint hum fills the black screen. It grows louder, vibrating like static trapped in the air. Suddenly, the hum transforms into the sound of a heartbeat, slow, heavy, echoing through darkness. The camera fades in on a single candle, flickering inside a cold, empty room. The flame shakes as though it knows what's coming. Around it, shadows of faceless players appear on the walls, but their bodies aren't visible, only silhouettes, stretching unnaturally as if the walls themselves are alive. The narrator whispers, and one question remains. Who controls the game now? The candle flickers out, a door creaks open in the distance, a spotlight shines down a narrow corridor. Heavy footsteps echo closer, louder, until they stop in front of the camera. A gloved hand slowly places a mask on a wooden table. Not the ordinary circle, triangle, or square, but a mask unlike any seen before. It's split in half, one side gold, the other side completely shattered. The camera lingers on the mask. A single drop of blood lands on it. Then, static interrupts the shot. The screen glitches to flashes of new horrors. Guards dragging bodies into black vans in the middle of a city street. A control room filled with screens, every monitor showing. Different arenas, some forests, some cities, some abandoned buildings. A shadowy figure standing behind the players, taller, darker, unmoving. Watching, the heartbeat returns, faster now. More violent, a distorted child's voice begins to sing the red light, green light melody. But it's slowed, twisted, each word breaking apart like static. The screen fills with the mechanical doll's 3 glowing eyes, zooming closer and closer until the entire screen turns red. Suddenly, silence, the red fades into black. Then words begin to appear on screen, letter by letter, glowing in blood red font. Who is playing who? The letters glitch, flicker, and rearrange themselves into new words. The front man is not alone. The screen shakes violently as if the system itself is collapsing. The sound of alarms blares, players screaming in the background. A distorted voice cuts through the chaos. You thought you knew the rules, but rules are meant to be broken. Quick flashes, the shattered mask lying in a pool of blood. A lone figure standing on a skyscraper rooftop, staring down at the glowing arena below. The scoreboard glitching again, numbers flipping so fast they can't be read. Finally, it freezes on a single number. 000. The camera zooms into the number until it consumes the entire screen. The heartbeat stops. Darkness. A single gunshot echoes, then another. Then silence again. Text fades in. Squid Game, Season 4, teaser trailer, concept the iconic Squid Game. Theme begins to play softly, but warped, broken, almost unrecognizable. It drags out into static, like the sound of a radio shutting off. The screen cuts to black one final time, and then one last whisper. The game has only just begun.